On June 14, 2025, at my son's backyard barbecue, I heard my daughter-in-law Patricia say, "Why is she even still alive? She's 68, unhealthy, and honestly just in the way. That house is worth $400,000. We need to talk about Shady Pines." I'm Martha Washington. I'm 68 years old. I was holding a warm dish of peach cobbler. I didn't leave. I didn't cry. I walked into that backyard like I hadn't heard a thing. Then I decided to do something about it. My name is Martha Elaine Washington. I was born August 3, 1957, in Birmingham, Alabama. I worked as a registered nurse for 35 years at Mercy General Hospital. My husband Samuel died 12 years ago from pancreatic cancer. We had one child, Thomas Samuel Washington, now 45 years old. If you're listening from somewhere far away, drop your city in the comments so I can see how far this has traveled. And please, stay with me until the end. This is the story of how I took my life back. The invitation came 3 days before, a mass text to the family group chat. BBQ this Sunday, 2 p.m., our place. Bring sides. No personal call. No, "Can you make it, Mama?" Just a group message. I should have known. That Sunday morning, I woke at 6:30 and made peach cobbler from scratch. 8 Georgia peaches, hand-peeled, 1½ cups of sugar, real butter, the latticed crust my mama taught me. I dressed carefully, my good blue dress with pearl buttons, the one Samuel bought for our 30th anniversary. I'm a Southern woman. We show up right. At 2:07 p.m., I arrived at Thomas and Patricia's house, 3422 Willowbrook Lane, Oak Hills subdivision. The house I gave them $60,000 to buy in March 2020. $60,000 from my retirement account at First National Bank, account number 4472-8839-2204. That's 41% of everything I'd saved in 35 years of nursing. "Just to help you get started, baby," I told Thomas. "What else am I saving it for?" He'd cried, hugged me. "I'll take care of you when you're old, Mama. I promise." The driveway was full. I parked on the street and walked to the back gate, carrying my cobbler. That's when I heard them. Patricia's voice, clear over the fence. "Why is she even still alive? She's 68, unhealthy, and honestly just in the way. Thomas, we need to talk about Shady Pines." Shady Pines. The nursing home on Route 9 with the sad little garden. Thomas laughed. Not loud, but unmistakable. "Mom's not ready for a nursing home yet." "Yet?" Patricia's voice dropped. "Tommy, she's taking up space in our future. That house is worth $400,000 minimum. We could flip it, invest, secure the kids' college funds. She's got nothing but Social Security, $1,600 a month. How long can she even maintain that property?" I stood there. The cobbler dish was warm against my palms. The sun beat down on my shoulders. I opened the gate. 17 people in that backyard. Thomas's cousins. Patricia's sister Michelle. Neighbors. And there by the grill stood Thomas and Patricia with plastic cups of beer. Patricia saw me first. Her face shifted. Surprise, calculation, then that fake smile. "Oh, Mama Martha, we didn't know you were coming." "The invitation said 2 o'clock, I said. I brought cobbler. Nobody took the dish. I walked past the string lights, past the inflatable pool, past the tables of food, found a spot at the far end in the shade. The folding chair creaked. My back ached, but I sat straight. A nurse learns good posture. For the next hour and 47 minutes, I watched. My granddaughter Naomi, 17, beautiful, ran past me 3 times. Never said hi, Grandma. Never looked at me. My grandson Joseph, 14, stayed inside on his phone. At 3:30, Thomas made a toast. "To family. To the people who matter most." Everyone cheered. Everyone clinked glasses. Not one person looked at me. At 4:15, I stood, stacked empty plates, collected napkins, wiped the sticky table while everyone moved inside. My peach cobbler sat untouched, lattice crust sinking in the heat. I picked it up and walked to my car. Nobody said goodbye. That night, I couldn't sleep. At 2:17 a.m., I got up and made coffee, sat at my kitchen table, the same table where Thomas did homework every night for 12 years. I opened my filing cabinet and pulled out the folder labeled Thomas House Purchase 2020. Inside was my handwritten letter. I am gifting you $60,000 from my retirement savings to assist with your down payment. This gift is made with no expectation of repayment, given freely with love, because you are my son. Dated March 18, 2020, no expectation of repayment. I'd meant it, but I'd also expected respect, a place at the table, basic acknowledgement. Then I pulled out my banking folder. Thomas had been on my checking account since 2018, after my hip surgery. Just in case something happens, Mama, so I can pay your bills if you're hospitalized. I started going through statements. February 12, 2025. Withdrawal of $5,000. Memo. Home repair. Roof leak. I'd had no roof leak. My roof was inspected in January 2025. No issues. March 22, 2025. Withdrawal of $8,000. Memo. Medical emergency, hospital copay. I'd had no medical emergency. Haven't been hospitalized since 2018. April 30th, 2025. Withdrawal of $12,000. Memo. Property tax payment. My property tax for 847 Cypress Street is $3,200, paid in January. My hands shook. I went back further. December 2024, October, June. More withdrawals. 5,000 here, 7,000, 10, 15. By 4:48 a.m., I'd added them up twice. Total, $73,400. $73,400 stolen over 18 months. At 8:02 a.m., I called Grace Blackwell. Grace and I went to nursing school together at Tuskegee in 1977. She dropped out senior year for law school, became a real estate attorney. We'd stayed friends. Martha Washington, she answered. What's got you calling at 8 on a Monday? I need legal help. My office, 10 o'clock. Grace's office was downtown, 3rd floor. Brass nameplate, Blackwell & Associates, Real Estate and Estate Law. I dressed carefully. Navy cardigan, gray slacks, pearl necklace. When you're changing your life, you dress for it. At 10:03, Grace opened her door. The skinny girl from nursing school had become this elegant woman in a charcoal suit, but when she smiled, I saw my friend. Her office had files stacked everywhere, 2 computer monitors, and a mug that said, I read contracts for fun. Tell me everything, she said. I told her about the barbecue, Patricia's words, Thomas's laugh, the cobbler nobody ate. Then I showed her the bank statements. Grace studied them in silence, finally looked up. Did you authorize any of these withdrawals? No. Did Thomas ask permission? No, he had access for emergencies only, after my hip surgery in 2018. Grace took off her glasses. I need to make a call. She was gone 12 minutes. When she returned, her expression had changed. Professional, serious. Martha, I spoke to a contact at First National Bank. The unauthorized withdrawals you found? That's not all. My stomach dropped. Grace opened a folder. Your joint checking currently has $11,247, but starting January 2022, there have been systematic withdrawals totaling $73,400. She pulled out another sheet. In March 2023, Thomas opened a savings account using your Social Security number. You never signed the paperwork. The signature is forged. That account has $42,000 deposited over 2 years, money transferred from your checking in small amounts you wouldn't notice. I couldn't speak. Martha, over 3.5 years, your son has taken approximately $115,400 from you. That's embezzlement. The number hung in the air. $115,400. Grace took my hand. I'm so sorry. What do I do? Grace started writing. First, we revoke his power of attorney. I never gave him power of attorney. You did. 2018. Limited POA for financial decisions during medical incapacity. Remember? Vaguely. Post-surgery on pain medication. Thomas brought papers to the hospital. We revoke it today, Grace said. Second, close the joint account. Open new account in your name only. Third, report the forged account. Fourth, she paused. Fourth, change your will. Thomas is currently your executor and sole beneficiary. Still what you want? I thought about the barbecue. 17 people who couldn't look at me. No, I want my beneficiary to be Greenway Women's Shelter. Grace's eyebrows rose. The domestic violence shelter on Route 7? I stayed there once, 1979, 3 weeks, pregnant with Thomas, $17 in my purse. They saved my life. Now I can help save someone else's. Grace nodded and kept writing. We spent 90 minutes on paperwork. I signed everything: POA, revocation, bank authorizations, new will naming Greenway as beneficiary. At 12:34 p.m., Grace handed me a portfolio of copies. "One more thing," she said. "Criminal charges. What Thomas did is felony embezzlement. 5 to 10 years if we prosecute." 5 to 10 years. My only child. Do I decide now? No, but think about it. If we don't prosecute, he might do this again. From Grace's office, I drove to First National Bank. By 2:15 p.m., I'd closed joint checking account, opened new account, mine only, changed all security questions, ordered new debit card, ending in 7734, filed fraud report on forged savings account, removed Thomas from everything. "Your son will receive notification by mail in 3 to 5 business days," the manager said. So I had maybe a week. At 4:47 p.m., I called a locksmith. Deshawn from Cypress Lock and Key arrived at 6:04 p.m. Changed all 3 locks, front, back, garage. He handed me 6 new keys. "Keep these safe, ma'am. 1 in my purse, 1 in my fireproof safe, 1 in my car, 1 under the kitchen sink, 1 for my neighbor Dorothy, 1 spare." At 8:03 p.m., Thomas called. I let it ring. Ring, ring. Voicemail. 3 minutes later, he called again. I turned off my phone. The certified letter arrived at 11:23 a.m. Official notification: Thomas Samuel Washington removed as authorized user. My phone had 14 missed calls, 7 voicemails, 12 texts. "Mom, call me. The bank cut my access. What's going on? Your key doesn't work. Did you change the locks? What the hell is going on?" I didn't respond. At 2:47 p.m., someone pounded on my door. "Thomas." I opened it. Didn't invite him in. "What's going on?" he demanded, face red. "The bank cut me off. You changed the locks." "Yes," I said, calm. "Why?" "Because you stole from me, Thomas. $115,400 over 3.5 years. His face went blank. "I didn't. That's not. I have the bank statements, the records, a lawyer. Don't lie to me." "Mom, I can explain." "No need. It's called embezzlement." He stood there, mouth opening and closing. "I need my key," I said. "What?" "The key to my house. You don't live here. You don't get access." "Mom, please. Key. Now." He fumbled with his keychain, removed the house key, held it out. I took it. "Thank you. Leave. We need to talk." "No. Leave my property or I call the police." He stared at me like he didn't know me. Maybe he didn't. Maybe I'd played a role so long, the sweet mother who never said no, that he'd forgotten I was a whole person underneath. Thomas walked to his silver Camry, sat there 3 minutes before driving away. I closed the door, locked it with my new lock, and I did not cry. Sunday, June 22nd. I hadn't been to Mount Zion Baptist Church in 3 months. Every Sunday, Thomas would call. "Mom, can you watch the kids? Patricia and I have plans." Or, "Mom, can you cook Sunday dinner? We're having people over." I always said yes. Always missed church. Not anymore. That Sunday, I woke at 7 a.m., put on my purple dress with the white collar, the one I wore to Samuel's funeral, drove to Mount Zion at 9:30 for the 10 o'clock service. The church sits on the corner of Martin Luther King Boulevard and 15th Street. Red brick, white steeple, stained glass windows that catch the morning sun. I've been a member since 1983, 42 years. Betty Lou Jenkins saw me first. She runs the bakery on Main Street, Betty's Sweet Treats, open since 1998. We've known each other since we were both 18, working night shifts at Mercy General. "Martha Washington!" She grabbed my hands. "Girl, where you been?" "Been busy, Betty." "Too busy for the Lord?" But she smiled when she said it. Sarah Mae Thompson came over next. Retired teacher, 72, sharp as a tack. "Martha, honey, you look good. Different. Did you do something to your hair?" "Just living differently, Sarah." We filed into the sanctuary. I sat between Betty Lou and Sarah Mae, felt the wooden pew beneath me, Heard the organ starting up. Reverend James Porter took the pulpit at 10:07 a.m. "Today," he said, his voice filling the space, "we're talking about boundaries, even in families, especially in families." I sat up straighter. He read from Matthew 10:37. "Anyone who loves their son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me." Then he said, "Sometimes love means saying no. Sometimes family means letting go. Sometimes the people who share your blood forget you're a whole person with needs and dignity." It felt like he was speaking directly to me. After service, there's always coffee and donuts in the fellowship hall. I was pouring myself a cup when Betty Lou touched my arm. "We're having Bible study Wednesday night. Women's group. You should come." "I don't know." "Martha." Sarah May appeared on my other side. "When's the last time you did something just for you?" I thought about it. Couldn't remember. "Wednesday," Betty Lou said. 6:30. Topic is setting boundaries, even with family. I nodded. "I'll be there." Wednesday, Mount Zion's Bible study met in the church basement. Folding chairs in a circle, coffee and cookies on a side table. 8 women, ages ranging from 45 to 76. Betty Lou led the study. We read scriptures, talked about what boundaries mean in a biblical context. Then Betty Lou said, "Anyone want to share? Safe space. What we say here stays here." Silence for a moment. Then I heard my own voice. "My son has been stealing from me." 8 pairs of eyes turned to me. The words kept coming. $115,400 over 3.5 years. I just found out. And before I found out, I overheard his wife say, "Why is she even still alive?" At a family barbecue, with 17 people there, and nobody defended me. Betty Lou reached over and took my hand. "I gave that boy $60,000 for his house, thousands more over the years. Babysat every weekend, cooked Sunday dinners he barely ate. And when I heard that woman ask why I'm still alive, I realized I'd been dying already, one sacrifice at a time." Sarah May's eyes were wet. "What did you do?" "Changed my will, revoked his access to my accounts, changed my locks, closed him out." Florence Davis, 68, married 47 years, spoke up. "Good. That's the Martha I used to know, the one who didn't take nonsense from anybody." "My nephew stole my wedding ring last year," Sarah May said. "People told me, 'But he's family.' I said, 'So am I.' We talked for another hour, about boundaries, about self-worth, about how Black women especially are taught to sacrifice until there's nothing left." Reverend Porter, who'd been sitting quietly in the corner, finally spoke. "Sister Martha, this church stands with you, whatever you need." When I left at 8:15 p.m., I felt lighter, not alone. Saturday, I was trimming my hedges at 2:15 p.m. when I heard, "Grandma?" Naomi stood at my front gate, 17 years old. Thomas's eyes, my late husband's smile, wearing an oversized hoodie and sneakers with untied laces. "Can we talk?" Her voice was small. I set down my shears. "Does your father know you're here?" "No. I found your number in his old phone. I've wanted to call for weeks." I opened the gate. "Come in." Inside, I made sweet tea. We sat at the kitchen table, the same table where I'd discovered what Thomas had done. Naomi picked at her thumbnail, couldn't meet my eyes. "I heard what Mom said," she finally whispered. "At the barbecue, I was in the kitchen getting more ice, and I heard Dad laugh, and I didn't say anything. I just stood there." She looked up, tears streaming. "I'm so ashamed, Grandma. I've been pretending you don't exist because it was easier than standing up to them. At the library, at the grocery store. I saw you. I just couldn't." "Why now?" I asked. Not harsh, just honest. "Because I'm starting to see them clearly. Mom talks about you like you're a burden. Dad acts like you're an obligation. And Joseph doesn't even know you. Not really, because they never let us." She pulled something from her backpack. A folded piece of paper, creased and worn. My birthday card from March. The one I'd handmade with watercolors. Inside, I'd written, "To my beautiful Naomi, you make the world brighter. Love, Grandma. Mom said you were embarrassing us with poverty gifts. She opened this after you left and threw it away. I fished it out of the trash that night." Something in my chest cracked open. "I remember everything, Grandma. The stories about Grandpa Samuel, How you'd braid my hair and tell me I was beautiful. The book you hand-stitched for my 10th birthday. I still have it. Mom wanted me to throw it out, but I hid it. Why didn't you open my gift this year? I asked. Mom wouldn't let me. She said I had to wait until you left. Then she threw it away. I didn't get to it fast enough. We sat in silence for a moment. What do you want from me, Naomi? I want to come back. Not for gifts or favors. Just to know you. Before it's too late. Before I turn into them. I studied her face. Saw genuine remorse. Genuine fear. This girl was terrified of becoming her parents. You can come back, I said. But only if you're honest. No more pretending. No more choosing them over truth. I can do that, she said. I promise. We didn't hug yet. Too soon. But we sat together, drinking sweet tea, and it was a start. She left at 4:30 p.m. with a slice of banana bread wrapped in foil. I watched her walk to the corner where she'd hidden her bike. For the first time in weeks, I felt something like hope. June 30th, the certified letter came at 2 p.m. from Shady Pines Assisted Living Facility, 1847 Route 9, Suite 200. I signed for it, confused. I'd never contacted Shady Pines, never inquired about their services. Inside the envelope, pre-admission paperwork, completely filled out. My name, my birth date, my social security number. Medical history section marked early stage dementia, mobility issues. I don't have dementia. My mobility is fine. Financial responsibility forms, listing Thomas Samuel Washington as power of attorney, which I'd revoked 3 weeks ago. Medical power of attorney transfer, with a signature that looked like mine but wasn't. I know my own signature. This one was close, but the M in Martha was wrong. The loop too wide. Room deposit receipt, $5,000, paid April 22nd, 2025. 2 months ago. Move-in date scheduled, August 15th, 2025. 6 weeks away. A handwritten note from the facility director. Mrs. Washington, your son Thomas has secured a lovely room in our memory care unit. We look forward to welcoming you. The room, 212-B, has south-facing windows and is near our activities center. Please contact us at 33455-57832 to schedule your orientation visit. Diane Pritchard, Director of Admissions. I sat at my kitchen table, read it again, and again. They weren't just planning to put me away. They'd already done it. Room reserved. Deposit paid with my own stolen money. Paperwork forged. Move-in date set. In 6 weeks, Thomas was going to show up at my door and tell me I was moving to Shady Pines. And if I refused, he had forged documents showing I had dementia, showing he had medical authority. He was going to lock me up. My hands shook as I picked up the phone. Grace answered on the second ring. Martha? They were going to imprison me. What? I read her everything. The forms, the dates, the forged signature. Silence on the other end. Then, fax me those documents now. My number is 3345-559100. I drove to the FedEx on Commerce Street. Faxed all 17 pages. Drove back home. Grace called at 4:47 p.m. Martha, this is elder abuse. Criminal elder abuse. The forged signature is fraud. Using your stolen money for the deposit is embezzlement. With the medical POA forgery, this could be kidnapping conspiracy. Conspiracy? Planning to institutionalize you against your will using forged documents. In Alabama, that's a Class B felony. 10 to 20 years. 20 years, my son could go to prison for 20 years. What do? We have 2 options. File criminal charges. Thomas faces serious prison time. Or we leverage this to ensure he never contacts you again. I thought about Thomas at 8 years old, missing his front tooth, holding my hand crossing the street. I thought about Thomas at 45, laughing while his wife wondered why I was still alive. I don't want him in jail, I said. But I want him to know that I know. I want him afraid. And I want legal protection. I'll draft a cease and desist letter. We'll CC the police department and the district attorney. He'll know we have evidence. That's your leverage. If he ever tries to contact you, we prosecute. Deal? Deal. One more thing, Grace said. We need to act fast. Move-in date is August 15th. That's 6 weeks. We need to make sure he can never execute this plan. What do you suggest? Let me call you back in an hour. Grace called at 5:52 p.m. I spoke to Diane Pritchard at Shady Pines. Told her you never authorized admission, never signed those documents. The signature is forged, and you're filing a police report. She's canceling the reservation and refunding the deposit. Refunding it where? To the account it came from. Your old joint checking account, the one we closed. The money will bounce back to the facility, then they'll cut a check to you directly. How long? 30 to 60 days. But Martha? Diane said something interesting. She said Thomas visited 3 times, once in April to tour, once in May to finalize paperwork, and once 2 weeks ago, June 12th, to confirm the August date. June 12th, 2 days before the barbecue where I overheard Patricia. They'd had a plan, a timeline. They were just waiting. There's more, Grace said. I did some digging into Thomas's finances, public records. He and Patricia filed for bankruptcy in March 2024. Chapter 7, discharged in September 2024. Bankruptcy? Credit card debt, $73,000, cars repossessed, second mortgage on the house. $73,000, almost exactly what Thomas stole from me. He wasn't just stealing for fun, Grace said. He was drowning, and instead of asking for help, he stole from his own mother. I couldn't speak. Martha, there's one more thing you need to know. I pulled property records. Your house, 847 Cypress Street, is assessed at $427,000, and you own it free and clear, no mortgage. That's why they want you gone. With you in Shady Pines, Thomas could claim financial guardianship, sell your house, and pocket the money. $427,000. My house, my home for 41 years. They were going to take it. What do we do? I asked. We beat them to it. July 1st, Patricia showed up at 9:30 a.m. I was watering my garden when her white Mercedes pulled into my driveway. She got out wearing a cream pantsuit and heels too high for a Tuesday morning. Martha, we need to talk. I turned off the hose. About what? About this nonsense. You've blocked Thomas, changed your accounts. He's devastated. He stole from me, Patricia. $115,000. Her face flickered. That wasn't stealing. You gave him access. For emergencies. Not to fund your bankruptcy. Not to pay off $73,000 in credit card debt. She went pale. How did you... Public records. Your Chapter 7 filing from March 2024. Discharged September 2024. Very thorough. Patricia's jaw tightened. She stepped closer. You're being selfish. That house is sitting on prime real estate. The equity could change our lives, but you're being stubborn. It's my house. For now, but when you're gone, when I'm gone, you get nothing. I changed my will. Everything goes to charity. The mask dropped completely. You can't do that. I already did. You're a miserable old woman, she hissed. You've always been jealous that Thomas found someone better than you. Better? I laughed. Actually laughed. You bankrupted my son, got him to steal from his own mother, and you were going to lock me in Shady Pines to steal my house. Her eyes went wide. What? I pulled the Shady Pines paperwork from my pocket, unfolded it. Room 212-B, $5,000 deposit. Move-in date August 15th. Forged signature. Want to explain this? Patricia's mouth opened, closed, opened again. We were trying to help. Help? By forging documents? By planning to institutionalize me against my will? You don't understand. I understand perfectly. You see an old woman, weak, in the way, easy to dispose of. But you forgot something, Patricia. I'm not weak. I'm a nurse. I worked 35 years saving lives while entitled people like you sat in air-conditioned offices pushing paper. I stepped closer. She stepped back. I'm 68 years old. I raised a son alone, survived domestic violence, built a life from nothing. You think you can scare me? You think you can erase me? This isn't over, she said. Yes, it is. My lawyer has all the evidence. The embezzlement, the forged documents, the nursing home conspiracy. If Thomas or you ever contact me again, we prosecute. He'll do 20 years. Is that what you want? Patricia's face crumpled. Not with remorse, with rage. She got in her Mercedes and peeled out of my driveway, leaving tire marks on the street. I went inside, locked the door, and finally, I let myself cry. Not from sadness, from relief, from the weight of 45 years of giving finally lifting off my shoulders. At 11 a.m., Grace called. The cease and desist is ready. I'm filing it today. Includes restraining order request. Thomas and Patricia must stay 500 yards away from you and your property. Violation results in immediate arrest. Good. Martha, you did it. You stood up. You protected yourself. I'm proud of you. Those words again. I'm proud of you. Thank you, Grace, for everything. One more thing. What do you want to do about the house? What do you mean? Stay or sell? Because if you want to move, start fresh. Now's the time. I looked around my kitchen. 41 years of memories. Samuel's coffee mug still in the cabinet. Thomas's height marks on the doorframe, painted over but still there if you look close. I think, I said slowly, I think it's time for something new. I know a place, Grace said. Senior living community, independent apartments, Willow Creek over on the east side. Safe, affordable, good people. Tell me more. Monday, July 14th. Grace called at 8:15 a.m. It's time. Can you come to my office at 2 o'clock today? What's happening? Thomas's lawyer requested a meeting. He wants to resolve this misunderstanding before we file criminal charges. This is your chance to confront him with everything, on your terms in a controlled environment with witnesses. My stomach flipped. Will Patricia be there? Her lawyer advised her not to attend. Smart woman. She knows she's guilty. I'll be there. At 1:47 p.m., I arrived at Blackwell & Associates. I dressed in my navy blue suit, the one I wore to Samuel's funeral. Power clothes for a power moment. Grace met me in the lobby. You ready? Yes. Remember, stay calm. Let the documents do the talking. Don't let him manipulate you emotionally. We walked into the conference room. Thomas sat at the long mahogany table with a man in an expensive gray suit. His attorney, Richard Moss from Moss & Associates. Thomas looked terrible, unshaven, dark circles under his eyes. The tie he wore hung crooked. He stood when I entered. Mom, sit down, Mr. Washington, Grace said. This is a legal proceeding, not a family reunion. We all sat, Grace on my right, Thomas and his lawyer across from us. A court reporter in the corner, fingers poised over her stenography machine. Grace placed a leather portfolio on the table. We're here today to discuss the theft, fraud, and conspiracy to commit elder abuse perpetrated by Thomas Samuel Washington against his mother, Martha Elaine Washington. This meeting is being recorded and transcribed. Richard Moss cleared his throat. My client disputes these allegations. There's been a misunderstanding. Let me show you the understanding, Grace interrupted. She opened the portfolio, pulled out the first document. Exhibit A, bank statements from First National Bank. Account number 4472-8839-2204, joint account held by Martha Washington and Thomas Washington. Unauthorized withdrawals beginning January 2022. She slid the papers across the table, highlighted in yellow, 23 separate withdrawals. January 15th, 2022, $5,000. March 8th, 2022, $7,000. June 22nd, 2022, $10,000. The pattern continues for 18 months. Total, $73,400. Thomas stared at the papers, said nothing. Grace pulled out another document. Exhibit B, forged savings account opened March 2023 using Martha Washington's Social Security number without her knowledge or consent. Signature analysis shows forgery. Account contains $42,000 transferred from Martha's checking account. Richard Moss shifted uncomfortably. My client had authorization to access. For emergencies only, I said, my voice steady. Medical emergencies, not to pay off bankruptcy debt. Grace smiled, pulled out Exhibit C. Your client filed Chapter 7 bankruptcy March 2024, discharged September 2024. Total debt, $73,000. Interesting how that matches the exact amount stolen from his mother. Thomas's face went red. I was going to pay it back. When? Grace snapped. Before or after you locked her in Shady Pines? She pulled out the nursing home documents, spread them across the table like a royal flush. Exhibit D, pre-admission paperwork for Shady Pines Assisted Living, Filled out April 2025 without Martha's knowledge. Medical history falsified, claiming early-stage dementia and mobility issues. Both lies. Exhibit E. Financial responsibility forms listing Thomas as power of attorney, except Martha revoked that POA on June 16th. Exhibit F. Medical power of attorney transfer with forged signature. Signature analysis confirms forgery. Exhibit G. Room deposit receipt. $5,000 paid April 22, 2025, using funds stolen from Martha's account. Exhibit H. Move-in date confirmation, August 15, 2025. Room 212B. Grace leaned forward. You were going to institutionalize your mother against her will, using forged documents and stolen money to gain control of her house, which is worth $427,000. The room was silent except for the court reporter's fingers clicking. Thomas's lawyer whispered something in his ear. Thomas shook his head. Whispered back. My client, Richard started. Your client committed multiple felonies, Grace said. Elder abuse, embezzlement, fraud, identity theft, conspiracy to falsely imprison. In Alabama, this is 20 to 30 years combined. Thomas finally looked at me. Really looked at me. Mom, I didn't mean— Don't, I said. Don't tell me what you meant. Tell me what you did. His mouth opened, closed. You stole from me. You lied to me. You were going to lock me away like I was already dead. And for what? Money? We were desperate, so you made me pay for your mistakes? I gave you $60,000 for your house, Thomas. $60,000. 41% of my life savings. And it wasn't enough? Tears ran down his face. I'm sorry. Sorry isn't enough. Grace pulled out one final document. Cease and desist order with restraining provision. Thomas and Patricia Washington are prohibited from contacting Martha Washington in any form, phone, email, text, in person, or through third parties. They must stay 500 yards from her residence. Violation results in immediate arrest and automatic prosecution of all pending charges. She slid the paper to Richard Moss. Your client signs this, or we file criminal charges this afternoon. You have 5 minutes to decide. Richard Moss took Thomas into the hallway. Through the glass window I could see them arguing, Thomas gesturing wildly, Richard shaking his head firmly. At 2:47 p.m. they came back. Thomas sat down, picked up the pen, signed the cease and desist order. Grace notarized it immediately, made copies. You're free to go, she said to Thomas. He stood, looked at me one last time. Mom, goodbye, Thomas. He walked out. I heard his footsteps fade down the hallway, heard the elevator ding, and then he was gone. 6 months later, I woke at 6:30 a.m. in my new apartment at Willow Creek Senior Living, Unit 7B, ground floor, south-facing windows. The morning light came through the curtains, soft, golden. My cat, Samuel Jr., a gray tabby I'd adopted in September, stretched on the foot of my bed and yawned. Morning, baby, I whispered. I got up, made coffee in my small kitchen, just big enough for one person who likes her space. The walls were cream-colored, clean, no memories trapped in the paint. I'd moved in August 20th, 5 days after I was supposed to be locked in Shady Pines. Grace helped, Dorothy helped. Betty Lou, Sarah May, Florence. The church ladies brought meals for a week. I sold 847 Cypress Street in October for $432,000. After fees and taxes, I cleared $398,000. I gave $50,000 to Greenway Women's Shelter, put the rest in a trust managed by Grace. Monthly income, $3,200, plus my Social Security. More than enough. My new apartment cost $850 a month. Everything included: water, electric, heat. Small balcony with space for a garden. Community room for potlucks every Thursday. I'd been happy here. Actually happy. At 9 a.m., I walked to the community room for the weekly breakfast. Teresa Brown, the property manager who'd become a friend, waved from the coffee station. Martha saved you a seat. I sat with Teresa, Dorothy, who'd moved here in November, following you into the good life, she'd said, and 2 new friends, Alice Murphy, 71, retired librarian, and Gladys Chen, 65, widow, funny as hell. We ate scrambled eggs and toast, talked about nothing important, the weather. Gladys's grandson's new baby, the potluck menu for Thursday. Normal things. Good things. At 10:30, I volunteered at Greenway Women's Shelter, every Monday and Wednesday, 9 to 2. I helped with intake paperwork, sat with women who'd just escaped, held their hands, told them, "You're safe now. You're going to be okay." Because I'd been there. I knew. At 2 p.m., my phone buzzed. Text from Naomi. "Coffee at 4, same place?" "See you there," I replied. We'd been meeting every Saturday since July. At first, once a month, then every 2 weeks, now weekly. She'd turned 18 in October, started at Alabama State University in January, studying social work. "I want to help people like you helped me," she'd said. "Show them they're worth more than what their families tell them." At 3:52 p.m., I arrived at Daily Grind Coffee on Commerce Street. Naomi was already there, 2 cups on the table, sweet tea for me, iced latte for her. She'd cut her hair. Short, natural, beautiful. "Grandma!" She hugged me tight. We sat. She told me about her classes, her roommate, the campus activism group she'd joined. "How's your dad?" I asked. I always asked. I needed to know he was alive, even if he wasn't in my life. "He's okay. He and Mom are divorced. Finalized in November." "I'm sorry." "Don't be. He's in therapy now. AA meetings. Trying to be better." She paused. "He asks about you sometimes. What do you tell him? That you're happy? That you're thriving? That you don't need him anymore?" "Good." We talked for an hour. When she left, she hugged me again. "Love you, Grandma." "Love you too, baby." February 15th. The Greenway Women's Shelter was hosting Honoring Our Mothers, a fundraiser dinner to celebrate women who'd given back to the community. Grace had told me I was being honored. I'd tried to decline. "Absolutely not," she'd said. "You donated $50,000. You volunteer twice a week. You're being honored whether you like it or not." The event was at the Grand Hotel Ballroom on Dexter Avenue. 150 people. Tables decorated with white linens and pink roses. Silent auction items on tables by the walls. I wore my purple dress, the good one. Dorothy came with me. Betty Lou, Sarah May, Florence and her husband James, Reverend Porter, Teresa, Naomi. My people, my chosen family. We sat at the table of honor, right up front. At 7 p.m., the program started. Donna Richards, the shelter director, took the microphone. "Tonight we honor women who give selflessly. Our guest of honor is Sister Martha Washington." Applause. I felt my face get hot. Martha donated $50,000 to this shelter, money she'd saved over 35 years as a nurse. But what makes this gift special is that Martha stayed at Greenway herself in 1979. We helped her escape domestic violence. Now, 47 years later, she's helping us help others. Donna told the whole story. The 3 weeks I'd spent there, pregnant, terrified, with $17. I hadn't known she'd share that, but I wasn't ashamed. Not anymore. "Full circle," Donna said. "A woman we helped is now helping hundreds more. That's legacy." 3 women approached the microphone, former patients from my nursing days. Jennifer Torres, now 38. "Nurse Martha delivered my baby in 2003. I was 17, alone, scared. She held my hand through 16 hours of labor. She told me I was strong. I believed her. I'm a nurse now because of her." Sharon Kimball, 52. "Nurse Martha sat with me after I tried to end my life in 2008. Didn't judge. Just sat there, hour after hour. She said, 'Baby, you matter. Even when you don't feel it, you matter.' I think about that every day." Ruth Ann Perkins, 74. "Nurse Martha took care of my husband when he was dying in 2012. Made sure he had dignity. Made sure I had support. She saw us as people, not patients." I cried. Couldn't help it. Then Naomi walked to the microphone. "I'm Martha Washington's granddaughter. Until 6 months ago, I was ashamed of that." The room went quiet. "My parents taught me to see Grandma as a burden. Old. In the way. I believed them. I ignored her. Pretended she didn't exist." She wiped her eyes. "But then I watched her make the hardest decision of her life. She walked away from people who didn't value her, including me. And instead of being bitter, she built a better life. She taught me that love isn't about sacrificing yourself until there's nothing left. Love is about boundaries, about respect, about knowing your worth. Grandma, you saved my life by showing me what strength looks like. I love you. Standing ovation. After dinner, Donna pulled me aside. Martha, there's something else. She handed me an envelope. From Thomas Washington. It came last week. We didn't know if we should give it to you. My hands shook as I opened it. Inside, a check for $5,000 made out to Greenway Women's Shelter, and a note in Thomas's handwriting. Mom, I know I have no right to contact you. I'm respecting the restraining order. This is going through the shelter, not to you directly. I'm in therapy, AA meetings, trying to be the man you raised me to be. I can't undo what I did, but I can try to honor what you're doing. This is from the Shady Pines refund. It should go where you would have wanted it. I'm sorry isn't enough, but I'm trying to show you through actions. I hope one day you can forgive me. I understand if you never can. Thomas. I folded the note, put it back in the envelope. Add his donation to the total, I told Donna. He's trying. That matters. I woke at 6:30 to golden light through my curtains. Samuel Jr. purring beside me, made coffee, sat on my small balcony with my journal. I'd started a new volume, number 48. This one had a purple cover, New Life, New Journal. I opened to a fresh page and wrote, February 17th, 2026, 8 months since I took my life back. What have I learned? I learned that at 68, it's not too late to start over. It's not too late to say no. It's not too late to choose yourself. I learned that family isn't always the people who share your blood. Sometimes it's the church ladies who show up with casseroles, the neighbor who keeps your spare key, the lawyer who fights for you, the granddaughter who chooses to come back. I learned that love without respect is just another word for exploitation, that sacrifice without reciprocity is just slow suicide. I learned that the greatest victory isn't revenge. It's peace. It's waking up in a home you chose. It's coffee on a balcony you pay for with money you protected. It's a cat purring beside you who doesn't want anything except your presence. I learned that why is she even still alive is a question I can finally answer, to remember my name, to set my own table, to keep my door open just wide enough for those who knock with clean hands. I closed the journal, sipped my coffee, watched the sun rise over the trees. My phone buzzed. Text from Dorothy. Breakfast at 9? Bringing muffins. Perfect, I replied. Another text. Naomi. Love you, Grandma. Have a good Monday. Love you too, baby. One more. Grace. Lunch this week? My treat. Thursday at noon. I set my phone down, looked out at the world. I thought about Thomas, about the check he'd sent, about his note saying he was trying. Maybe one day I'd be ready to talk to him. Maybe not. Either way, I was okay, because I'd learned the most important lesson of all. I didn't need anyone's permission to live. Not my son's, not my daughter-in-law's, not anyone's. I was Martha Elaine Washington, 68 years old, former nurse, survivor, volunteer, friend, grandmother to the ones who chose to stay, and I was finally, truly, completely alive. At 8:45 a.m., I heard a knock. Opened the door to find a young black woman, maybe 23, with a duffel bag and scared eyes. Mrs. Washington, I'm Destiny. Naomi sent me. She said you might have space for someone who needs help, just for a few days until I figure things out. My family, they kicked me out and I don't have anywhere. I looked at this girl, saw myself at her age, saw the fear, the desperation, the hope. Come in, baby, I said. You're safe now. She started crying. Thank you. Thank you so much. I led her inside, sat her at my small kitchen table, made her a cup of tea with sugar and honey, the way my mama used to make for me. You hungry? She nodded. I scrambled eggs, made toast, set it in front of her and watched her eat like she hadn't had a real meal in days. While she ate, I thought about Greenway in 1979, about the woman who'd sat me down at a table just like this, who'd made me tea, who'd said, you're safe now. Full circle. Dorothy arrived at 9:03 with muffins and stopped in the doorway. Saw Destiny. Saw me. Understood immediately. I'll come back later, she whispered. No, I said. Stay. We have room. Because that's what you do. You make room. You pull up an extra chair. You share what you have. You remember when you were the one who needed saving. We sat together, me, Dorothy, and Destiny, ate muffins and drank coffee, talked about safe places and next steps. And I knew, sitting there at my small table in my small apartment with my big, beautiful, chosen family, that this was what I'd been surviving for. Not to hoard what I had, but to share it. Not to die alone in a big, empty house, but to live full in a small space filled with love. Not to wait for people to see my worth, but to know it myself and surround myself with people who knew it too. That evening, I sat on my balcony as the sun set, Samuel Jr. in my lap, cup of tea going cold in my hands. I thought about the woman I'd been 8 months ago, standing at that barbecue with a cobbler nobody wanted, hearing those words, "Why is she even still alive?" I thought about the woman I was now, smaller apartment, bigger life. They'd asked why I was still alive. Here's my answer. To show a 17-year-old girl that it's okay to choose truth over comfort. To give $50,000 to women who need it more than my ungrateful son. To volunteer on Mondays and Wednesdays, holding hands with survivors. To have coffee with friends who actually want my company. To open my door to scared young women with nowhere else to go. To prove that at 68, you can start over. You can say no. You can choose yourself. To wake up every morning in a home I picked, in a life I built, with people I chose. To finally, after 68 years, understand that my worth isn't measured by what I give away. It's measured by what I keep for myself. I am Martha Elaine Washington. I am 68 years old, and I am still alive because my story isn't over. It's just beginning. If this story touched you, please share it. Somewhere there's a woman who needs to hear that it's never too late, that she's worth more than what her family tells her, that she can start over, that she deserves peace. Drop your city in the comments. Let's see how far Martha's story travels. And remember, you are worthy, you are enough, you are allowed to choose yourself.